Hey there, hi there, everybody. So, coming up now is Invisible Woman, and Invisible Woman is one of the last champs that you gotta fight on Path 1 of Abyss here. Now, this fight was a lot of fun. It wasn't fun. I shouldn't kid around. This was one of the toughest fights on Path 1, probably saved next to the Collector himself. Now, at the time, Invisible Woman was still a fairly new champ, so when I went in, I really didn't know how to fight her super effectively, didn't know her kit super effectively, and it kind of shows. So this is, I wound up blowing a bunch of revives on this one, more so than a number of the other fights combined. So that was fun. But, you know, looking back, there are things I definitely could do differently to counter her, but at the time I wound up going in with Aegon. Now, my Aegon was completely ramped up. I have a 30% attack and health boost turned on, and I'm running double suicides. Now, the thing about Invisible Woman here is her special Abyss node, which effectively is that it gives you a power sting. Now, this power sting is fairly annoying because, for one, I mean, it inhibits when you can throw specials. So in this case, for Aegon, a special 3. But it's also annoying in that if you don't have a debuff on the opponent, when it expires, you get stunned. And at this point, getting stunned effectively is a death sentence. So you always got to make sure that Sue here has a debuff on her pretty much at all times, because you're going to be getting power stings left and right. The important thing to note here for this fight, and it wound up helping me out a lot, is that I've got the weakness mastery turned on. Now, I was running that pretty solid for AQ standard, so I already had it turned on, but if you haven't, I really recommend you looking into unlocking and turning on that weakness mastery for this fight. And effectively what that does is that you have a small percentage chance to inflict a weakness debuff on your opponent on each hit, which is great because there you go, there's your debuff, right? So you don't need to worry about throwing special 2 with Aegon for the bleed proc, which is going to be whole kinds of problematic with a power sting. And you don't need to worry about keeping up a parry stun either, especially since, you know, she's got limber because of Abyss and reasons. So having that weakness up on her really helps. I think without it, I would have wound up blowing a number of revives on top of this. So that all helped. I mean, in all, it wasn't the longest fight, but I think it was, so far up to this point, is definitely one of the costliest. Wound up using about 11 revives total. So, you know, fun times. The other thing about Sue is just her standard kit, you know, where she is constantly going invisible, where she's constantly throwing debuffs on you to amp up her own damage. So there's just a lot of cycling that's going through and a lot of things to pay attention to. And I think that's really, at the end of the day, where I wound up running into the most trouble, is because, you know, you got to focus on the fight, you got to focus on Sue's invisibility bar, you got to focus on if she's got a debuff on her, and then you have to focus on yourself as well, whether you have the standard Sue debuff or if you got a power sting on you as well, and juggling a couple timers. So I think really that's where I wound up running into the most trouble with this fight. But I'm going to let the rest of the video here play out so you can see what I did, how I handled it, how the weakness debuff wound up helping out, juggling the power sting, or, as often was the case, not effectively juggling the power sting. Because at the end of the day, this isn't some one big god tier one shot of Invisible Woman, but it really is me just playing poorly. I think also looking back, Heimdall wound up really being useful here, because Heimdall would save me from certain death, right? And then Aegon would have the number of Furies built up, be able to counter Invisible Woman and attack her with added damage. So I think that really was useful as well. But if you got any questions, comments, concerns, any of that, looking for tips, pointers, all that good stuff, feel free to leave that down in the comment section. I'm going to be coming up next with Cole as the penultimate fight here, and then Collector right after that. But until next time, everybody, take care, talk soon, stay safe, and be well, everyone. Bye for now.